So welcome once again for some practicing of mindfulness, meditation, reflection, learning to understand ourselves a little bit better through various tools and reflections that Nancy and I share each week. And hopefully you find something here that's useful, that gives you a little bit of a break in your day, and also maybe helps you learn something a little bit more about how to live with even just a tiny bit more ease or understanding in this world that seems a little chaotic sometimes. So welcome. And as we usually do, we'll start with what we call a grounding meditation to fully arrive here. So taking your meditation seat, whatever that might look like today. A seat can be sitting in a chair, sitting in a couch, sitting in a wheelchair, sitting on the floor, or it could be standing. That can be used for meditation, or lying down is a seat, a posture. So whatever feels right for you that will allow your body to feel supported and at ease for the next few minutes, so we can do a little bit of centering, just really arriving in the body. So feeling that support of however you decide to be sitting or lying down, and feeling the support, so feeling the grounding and that support, and inviting the spine to be upright or alert or elongated any amount if you can. That helps bring some brightness to the mind and the body. So inviting the spine to be long, but also a sense of relaxation. We don't want to be rigid. So it's feeling the support, the alertness, the relaxation, closing the eyes if you're comfortable, or just keeping the eyes a soft gaze on one object, so we can come inwards. And we'll let the bell invite us to let go of all the arriving, the clicking, the looking, screen, letting it all go. And the invitation is to come inwards. So the basic practice is, how is it right here, right now? So there's a question. How is it? When we let go of all the doing, the arriving, and we're just present, we can notice, how is it in this body? What's the general energy of the body? Is it relaxed? Is it agitated? Does it feel collapsing, like no energy? Or does it feel all agitated? Somewhere in between, just balanced. And not judging how it is, but just noticing it's like this. However it is, it's like this. We're not resisting, we're not holding on, we're just noticing it's like this in the body. And maybe even as you're noticing, maybe it's changing a little bit. Maybe you can noticing different parts of the body or changing sensation in the body. We can notice that too. Now it's like this. And then we can check and see what the mood of the mind is. Is the mind present and curious? Is it falling asleep because it's quiet all of a sudden? You're not doing. Sometimes that makes the mind just collapse and go to sleep. Or maybe there's just a calm presence, the pleasure of not having to do anything. You can just be here. Or maybe there's some restlessness. We just notice the mood of the mind is this. Again, maybe even that's changing. We can notice that too. So during this meditation, the invitation is to just take a break from our usual activity of doing, and just be present right here, right now, with whatever is here. Usually we're living in the past or the future, so can we be present with what's actually happening in our life? And the body is always in the present. So a lot of times we encourage awareness of the body, because the thinking mind tends to want to be in the past or the future. So can you be aware of the body Maybe feeling the feet resting on the floor or whatever's supporting them. Feeling the sensation of the feet in contact with their support. Or maybe you feel pressure on your hands as they rest in your lap, or however you have them. Maybe there's a pressure against them. The sensation in the hands, we can notice that. And how is that? Or we can get an overall sense of just how the body is. Does it feel relaxed, or does it feel restless in some way? Are there various sensations? A sensation of an itch or cold, or some strong sensation we might call pain. Or maybe there's a sense of ease in the body. So we just notice the overall sense of how the body is right here, right now. And we may notice changing sensation, because the mind likes variety. It may go from an itch to a feeling of warmth, to feeling the heartbeat, to hearing a sound. All coming and going. And our awareness is just aware as each one comes and goes. And oh yes, a thought will come in. A thought of the past, planning the future, wondering if we're doing this right. So we just let that thought arrive, and then let it move on too if we just don't hold on to it. And come back to being aware of the body. A heartbeat, a breath, a sound, a sensation in the body. And this mind, this awareness, just observing each as they come and go. Doesn't have to reach out. Just receives each sensation in the body, each sound, each heartbeat, each breath, each thought, all coming and going. So can we be interested in what's happening right here, right now, in this mind and this body? And if you want something specific to pay attention to, you could pay attention to the body breathing. So knowing when you're breathing in, that you're breathing in, when you're breathing out, that you're breathing out. And maybe you feel this is a receiving of energy in the body, not necessarily a sensation of breath, but receiving energy as you breathe in and letting go, relaxing as the body breathes out. And then another in, another out. So where can your attention, your awareness, stay interested and present in this body, this changing experience of the breath, the body, sounds, thoughts, coming and going? That's the invitation. So we'll practice in silence like this for a bit. And you can notice if the mind is still paying attention to what's happening right here, right now, or if it's lost in planning, remembering, to-do lists. We're lost in a fantasy, we're lost in sleep. We just notice what the effect is on the mind and the body, and then reset the attention to be curious, to wonder what's going on right here, inviting some energy, some curiosity. What is happening here? How is it? Not looking for anything, but just receiving what's happening and noticing how it feels in the mind and the body. A sound, a thought, body sensation, a breath. Reset your intention to be present with this experience right here. Notice what's happening and how it is. Noticing what the mind's aware of right now. Is it still present or is something else going on? And just noticing, how is it in the mind and the body? And then resetting the intention to just be present with what's here right now, with curiosity, interest, just observing moment to moment. It's like this. Now it's like this. Noticing what the mind's aware of right now, how that feels in the mind and the body, whatever it is. So we just keep returning to this over and over again as a practice to be aware of what's actually happening right here, right now, just observing, taking a break from our usual doing, and just being present, learning something about what the mind likes to pay attention to, how that feels in the mind and the body, is a way to get to know ourselves better. Noticing what leads to ease, what leads to stress, moment to moment. This is the practice. So the bell invites us to bring the awareness back more to the surface from wherever it's been. And maybe just take a moment and reflect a little bit on what your experience was during that. There were probably a range of experiences, everything from planning to sleeping, probably, and everything in between. But just noticing, we don't take the time to observe what the mind pays attention to and how that affects us. So we can let that go and just be present with being together here again. And what I'd like to share today for something to explore, two things happened. I was helping a friend with a really difficult situation this week, and I could feel it all ramping up. We were trying to solve, and it was pretty emotional for them, especially, when I got pulled into their energy of trying to resolve this really difficult situation. And as I could feel the energy ramping up, and the what if, I could feel my clarity like going down as the energy ramped up, because it got more emotional and I was less clear in my thinking. And so luckily my practice, reminder came in and I said, okay, let's just take a break, give it a timeout, and let's take 3 breaths and just let all this stuff settle, and before we, make any more decisions, because we were getting into that reactive mode rather than really being able to think clearly and respond and come up with a game plan. So I was just really grateful for the training that I've had to notice when I get agitated or confused, or just something feels out of balance. This can also happen if you really want something really bad. You get to the point where you're not even thinking clearly. It's just I have to have this, But feeling that pull of the energy, either wanting something really bad, that pulling into, or the not liking and trying to fix, sort of pushing away, but trying to, build a wall. So noticing these energies when we get pushed around. And I just happened to listen to a Dharma talk by one of my teachers, and it was called The Pause, and this is what we invite, this is the time out, this is the break. And can we notice when we're getting out of balance? And then can we remember to just take a pause? Just say, okay, brief time out, whatever it takes to just calm a bit, get some more clarity, so that we can respond with some intention rather than going into reactivity of either wanting or not wanting, right? And I love the pause. I love the kind of the image of it. Whether it's on YouTube, I shouldn't admit I watch YouTube, but that's where I watch Dharma talks and I watch all music stuff and everything. And there's that pause button, when it gets to be too much, when I'm taking too much in, and I need to process, there's that great little pause button there that you can push, and you don't hit rewind, you don't hit fast forward. It's just pause, so can I pause and be present and let this settle, let me take it all in, and then I can hit play again and take some more in, right? And make a decision, or maybe my decision is I need to rewind the thing to watch this again, but at least I've consciously said, no, I didn't really hear what was going on and I need to go back, but doing it from a place of clarity, not just from the confusion of an overactive mind, which is what we can easily get pulled into. So I just love that image of the pause button and kind of calling that to mind. And so there's 2 parts to this. One is noticing when we're out of balance, and then the other part is having the wise part of the mind going, up, time for a pause, right? And we just take a break, and that breaks it's just an energy break. It's kind of like a fire break. And, when they're trying to prevent forest fires from spreading from one place to another, they create a break, and that's what the pause does. It's a break in the energy of thinking, of wanting, of not wanting, of worrying about past and future, whatever it is. It's a break, an energetic break. So we just say, okay, we're going to take a break here. and just say, what's happening? So we can ask an open-ended question like that, like, what's happening right now? And inviting curiosity instead of, which reactivates the thinking part of the brain. And then that question of like, what's happening? It brings us into the present moment. And that asking a question takes us out of all the stuff that we were in before, breaks that old thought process. And we can just go, okay, what's really happening? And then in that moment, then it allows us to ask another question like, what might be useful right now? And sometimes the break is all we needed to just stop the chaotic energy. And then you go, oh, I was trying to think about this, but I got lost, Let's go back and think about it again. I feel more rational now. So maybe the pause was all that was needed. Or maybe we're super revved up and we need to take like 3 long exhales to get the body and the brain to calm down a little bit. Or maybe there's more questions. We invite curiosity. Or maybe we know immediately, well, there's an action I need to take and I can take it from a place of intention and as a coherent response rather than out of reactivity. So that we take the pause and then what's happening and then what might be useful. So I use this in daily life. I mean, I was just so grateful I had this tool in my toolbox when I was working with my friend. And so we practice this in meditation because we can watch these mental storms come up. Like we set the intention to be with the body or the breath, right? And then the mind has other ideas. It goes someplace else. And so can we notice when that happens? And that's a good thing. We notice when the mind's gone off someplace else and then just go, what's going on? What might be helpful? Do I need to reground in the body? Or can I just go back to what it is that I intended to pay attention to? So that's what I propose we play with for the next meditation period. Hopefully this makes sense. I'll give a little bit of guidance during the meditation to try to invite this. But so we can watch where the mind goes off to, notice when it gets caught. Or maybe you'll notice that it stays right with what you intend and notice how peaceful that is and that no break is needed, right? Good luck with that. If your mind is anything like mine, it will go off someplace, somewhere in the next session. So just noticing, and we'll invite that curiosity and the compassion and the kindness, and see what feels helpful. Okay, so enough talking. We'll take a pause and recenter in our meditation seat. So inviting the body to rest again on whatever it's supporting by. The floor, the chair, the bed, the couch. So feeling the resting, inviting the alertness, the relaxation, closing the eyes if you're comfortable, just to bring the attention inwards or just having a soft gaze. Again, the bell will invite us to come inwards. So with the fading of the sound of the bell, you're just inviting the mind to come inwards and notice again, once again, how is it right now in the body, the general sense of the body, relaxed, agitated, whatever it is, calm. How's the body? And how's the mind? What's the mood of the mind? And whatever it is, we just notice, oh, it's like this right now. And then we can set an intention for this meditation. Just be present, as we did in the first meditation. Just be present with the moment-to-moment experience. And you can do this by, as we did in the first one, by observing different sensations, sounds, thoughts, breath, whatever, coming and going. Or you can choose a specific meditation object, maybe the breath, or maybe you have a phrase that you feel comforted by that you might want to rest in. So set your intention where you're going to rest your attention. What can the mind stay interested in moment to moment? So the body, the breath, setting that intention, and then the mind just observing moment to moment. So we'll practice in silence a bit. And we can check in and notice what the mind's paying attention to still with the moment to moment experience in the body, or thoughts coming and going, whatever. Or is it caught in something? Maybe caught in wondering if you're doing this right, or planning, past, future, or sleeping. Just noticing what's going on, how that feels in the mind and the body. And then reset the intention just to be present with your meditation object that you chose, moment to moment, with interest, just observing with curiosity and kindness, moment to moment experience. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to. Is it still just watching experience come and go? Or is it being pushed or pulled by some kind of something it's caught in? We can just notice what's happening and what might be useful. If the mind's just contentedly watching things come and go, then you just go back to doing that. But if we're caught in a story or planning or remembering, maybe something's needed, like special attention to the breath, maybe a question. So do whatever might be helpful And if nothing's needed, just go back to being with your meditation object, moment to moment. Now this, and now this. Just observing moment to moment experience. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to and how that feels in the body and mind. And noticing if something feels out of balance or we need to take a pause to ask what's happening, what might be useful. Just checking in. If the mind is content, we can go back to just watching our meditation object. If we need a break, what might be useful? If we're sleepy, we can do a longer inhale instead of an exhale for 3 breaths to bring some energy, some interest. If we're caught in a story, maybe we just, by noticing, by pausing, we can break the story. Just go back to the meditation object. So what might be helpful in this mind, this body right here, right now? Noticing what the mind's paying attention to. Notice how that feels in the body and mind. Does it feel in balance? And if so, just keep doing what you're doing. If it feels like you're being pushed or pulled or out of balance, take the pause. Ask, what's happening? What might be useful? And when we're back in balance, we can just go back to observing our meditation object. So noticing what the mind's paying attention to, whatever it is, noticing the effect on the mind and the body. Doing this over and over again, we get to learn more about the habits of the mind, what leads to stress, or being out of balance, what leads to ease or balance. So we're learning to tune in to how it is right here, right now, this mind and this body. By learning this, can learn what leads to ease, what leads to stress, moment to moment, just by observing, how is it right here, right now? And however it is, can we just be with this? Can this be okay? It's like this, right now. So the bell invites us to bring the awareness back to the surface again. And maybe just take a second and reflect what you might have noticed during that meditation. Probably a number of different things happened. What was helpful, what wasn't. It's all part of the learning. And then let that go and come back to being aware again. So just hopefully there was something in that practice that maybe was helpful to you. Another little tool to add in your toolbox, a question to ask yourself, not just during meditation, but during the day, like what's going on right now? Just take a pause in the day and just check in and give ourselves that break in the energy. And just that alone is enough to break some of the tension sometimes in what's happening in our lives. So hopefully there was something helpful. If not, you can let it go. But I'm just grateful that we were able to be here together again and practice. So we'll do it again next week with Nancy. So thanks for being here.